Good morning, everyone. Episode 5 Batman the Cape Crusader. If the agenda and the message weren't clear enough to you, they're gonna ram it down your throats now. We now know why the show was created. It is not a Batman show in the least. It's all about pushing that sweet, sweet Hollywood message. Let's get into it. The episode starts off with Batman stopping a bank robber, but is abruptly interrupted by a man dressed as a pharaoh in the middle of the street yelling at traffic. Batman subdues the man. He keeps rambling on about pharaohs and other things. We then cut to the Batcave where Batman and Pennyworth are talking about this man that was dressed up as a pharaoh. He is a wealthy billionaire who recently gave up all of his money to charity and is now residing in Arkham Asylum. Pennyworth says, "Wow, I never thought this man was a philanthropist," and Batman says, "You're right, something's odd about this. That a man is just giving away his fortune to charity." We then take a stop off at Arkham Asylum where a man dressed as a clown is being tortured by Tickling. As he pleads for his punishment to stop, he says, "Yes, I will give up all of my money and everything I own." And then we hear a sexy, sultry voice say, "I don't believe you, keep going." And the torture just keeps going on and on and on. We then cut to the stars of the show, Barbara Gordon, Harley Quinn, and is joined by our favorite big booty Latinx Montoya, who was just walking by Gotham Cafe and saw them and popped in to say hello. Why are Barbara Gordon and Harley Quinn hanging out? I don't know. I never really got this relationship for the past, 5 episodes so far, but apparently these three women are all best friends. Who would have guessed? And the purpose of this entire scene is to show that Barbara and Harley are best friends. Granted, we could have maybe seen this relationship in the previous episodes to really solidify it, but no, it's okay. Episode 5, we're just going to tell the entire audience, don't worry, these two are best friends. So as Barbara gets into a cab and leaves, now it's just Harley and Montoya there. And Harley asks Montoya out to dinner. No real build-up, no, again, episodes talking about their relationship, maybe hinting at anything. No. Harley Quinn just abruptly asks Montoya out to dinner. We then cut to Batman breaking into the apartment of the guy dressed as a pharaoh to look for clues. He, for some reason, presses a secret button that unlocks this hidden room filled with ancient Egyptian memorabilia. This I found a little odd because, might be a little bit of a spoiler here, but the man is brainwashed into thinking that he's a pharaoh, right? He doesn't actually believe he's a pharaoh, right? So, while being brainwashed into thinking such a thing, he then went out there and bought and created this hidden room and decked it out with all ancient Egyptian stuff. That just seems a little weird, right? Wouldn't it be okay, you brainwashed him, thinking he's a pharaoh, then he just went out, dressed as one, and then went into the streets? So, how long did it take to get all of this stuff and put it in this room? I don't know. It just seems like a really big undertaking that didn't really pay off at all. It just seems stupid. Anywho, the reason why Batman is here, because he finds the man's checkbook. And every single check is written out to Harley Quinn. And as Batman is thinking about this, he's interrupted by a tear gas bomb that just gets thrown into the room. The Gotham Police Department are outside of the room. All of them. How did they get there? How did they know that Batman was here? Did he set off a silent alarm? They all just instantly show up. This is Batman. Batman doesn't set off silent alarms, people. He's smarter than this. So Batman does the smartest thing that any human being could possibly do. He takes a smoke bomb, tear gas bomb, and just throws it out the window at the police officers. And of course, the entire room is covered in smoke, and Batman just takes them out one by one. And then he just leaves. And for some odd reason, Flask and Bullock are just left unbeat up and knocked out at all. Everyone else he just knocks out for some odd reason. Very strange. Then we cut to Harley Quinn in a therapy session with a very rich man talking about his business and paying workers, and it's an anti-capitalism episode. That's all it is. That's what this whole thing is talking about how all these rich people, ironically all rich white men, I don't know what the show is trying to tell us with that, but yes, how they all should give up their fortunes for the less fortunate. And Harley Quinn during the session decides to press a button on her chair, and it locks the man in his chair. She had Bruce Wayne in this chair not like an episode or two ago. How come she didn't decide to trap wealthy billionaire Bruce Wayne, King of Gotham? She's busy messing with all these other people because they're, bad rich capitalists, but Bruce Wayne? Not a single thing? You don't think to maybe capture this guy? Is he so noble? And even as Harley Quinn is talking with this man, she tells him that she doesn't think therapy will help him, and how more aggressive therapy is needed to help this man. It's like, you didn't do this with Bruce at all? Wouldn't that have been kind of interesting? But no. We couldn't do that a few episodes ago because that was a Catwoman episode. And of course, this is the Harley Quinn episode. So we obviously had to wait on that obvious problem. We then cut to Arkham Asylum, where Harley Quinn has all these individual cells of all these rich white men dressed up as babies and jesters, and pretty much she has a humiliation fetish, it seems, and she's trying to teach them lessons and everything like that. So she has the guy dressed up as a baby and gives him a hammer, and to go to the guy dressed as a king, and then we cut to black. So, just asking for the audience really quickly. If we cut to black on this, we'd assume he killed him, right? Wouldn't that be the obvious assumption that Harley Quinn is having these guys kill each other off in some kind of ridiculous therapy session? No, not at all. We then cut over to Barbara Gordon interrogating the Pharaoh dude and just asking him the usual questions. Clearly this guy's in a straitjacket. He's obviously deranged and crazy at this point, but not so crazy and deranged where he's able to quickly run at the speed of light in a straitjacket, knocking past hospital staff and breaking his way up to the roof, where Barbara Gordon, in high heels mind you, is able to catch up with him and grab his straitjacket at the nick of time before he tries to jump off the roof. And as the man is screaming and pleading that he needs to see her, Barbara keeps asking him, who, tell me her name. And then the hospital security staff comes over and they say, Miss Gordon, are you okay? She says, yes, I'm fine. Please restrain him. So they stab him with a needle and drug him up as she's still trying to ask him questions. And then right before he's able to utter the name, he then passes out. Did you think that stabbing him with a needle as a sedative would give him the information? I don't know. She has a look of disappointment on her face. Then we cut over to the GCPD, where Barbara asks Harley Quinn, hey, have you ever heard about this rich billionaire that went crazy before? And I'm wondering, is this like doctor-patient confidentiality she's breaking? Like, obviously, she can't tell Barbara this man is her patient, right? Isn't that how it works? You can't just blurt out randomly, especially without a warrant or a court order, just in the middle of a hallway of a police station, like, yes, I am treating this man for psychiatric problems. You can't do that, right? So I don't know if this is Harley Quinn just being devious about this, or is this Harley Quinn just keeping up with the HIPPA laws? Then after a conversation with her father, she decides, you know what, I need to go a little bit further with this, and she goes to Dr. Quinzel's office. But it's ransacked, and she sees Batman's silhouette leaving the building. So, obviously Batman was there a few seconds ago, and he rummaged through a floor safe and just left her appointment book with all the evidence right then and there for Barbara to find for some odd reason. And it just makes me wonder, did he do this on purpose, or did he just run out of the room and just leave everything like this? Batman doesn't just ransack rooms like this. He tries to make it look like he was never there, right? Why is he so lazy and terrible at his job now? Barbara uses her expert detective skills to rub her pencil over some of the papers that were removed to show what the previous person wrote on it. I don't know really how to explain it. You know how to do it, right? She then goes to the house of William Hastings and talks to him about Fletcher Denon, another client of Harley Quinn's. And he instantly says, "Isn't that a client list confidentiality?" Yeah, that's a great question. Why is Barbara Gordon so terrible at her job? And he explains, "This is a wild invasion of my privacy. Get off my property immediately." Like, yeah, he's in the right here. You don't have the right to go to his house and try to interrogate him. Especially from a client list that you shouldn't be able to access at all, that you realistically stole the address and name from. Why are you so terrible at your job, Barbara? And as Barbara is defeated, she decides, "I'm going to go sneak around the back and try to break into this guy's house." And Batman pops up behind her and asks her, what is she doing here? Batman, in what universe do you have the right to question another person why they're breaking into a place? And Barbara asks him, "Why are you here?" And he says, "I think Dr. Quinzel is brainwashing her patients." And then with the most smuggest expression and arm folded that I've ever seen, she asks him, "Do you have proof of that?" Bitch, what are you doing here without any proof? Are you out of your mind? And then Batman just tells her, "Hey, go back to the city, I'll handle Quinzel." And he just rappels up into the building. Then we cut to the main reason this show exists. Harley Quinn and Montoya on a date. Montoya and Harley Quinn talking about how when Montoya was younger, she was a figure skater. Just the flirting and dialogue, it's so unrealistic at all. I don't believe this for a second. It's all bad. I don't think any of the writers of this show have ever been on a date. Ever. Then a waiter brings over a phone and Harley Quinn answers it and realizes that, oh, I have to leave. Not before giving Montoya a kiss on the lips. This is the show, guys. This is why they made this show. For this scene right here. Batman then breaks into the secret prison cells of all the rich white billionaires when Harley Quinn shows up in her clown outfit. How did she get here so fast? And changed along the way? I know it's a dumb question to ask, but I really do question, how did she get changed so fast? So it's like, oh, you get a phone call, okay, I have to rush home immediately. Does she change it in the car? Is she running into this house and then has to run upstairs to the room and put her outfit on before confronting Batman? And put on the full face of makeup and everything too? Wouldn't she come in there just completely out of breath and soaking wet from sweat after rushing around like this? It's okay, doesn't matter, just clap at the pretty colors and stuff like that. So here is just the schematics of the room so we're all on the same page here, okay? Batman is standing in front of a control desk with all the buttons that control all of these cells and everything else in the room. Harley Quinn is at the door at the other end of the room. She finds a way, just through conversation and just walking to the left, to find a way to move in front of Batman as he moves out of the way for her to stand there so she could open up the cells and release all the prisoners to attack him. Somehow Batman, standing in front of the control panel, fully knowing that these are the controls to open up everything, decides to move out of the way so Harley Quinn could stand there and open up the gates. So Harley orders the rich white men to go attack Batman, and we see the guy dressed up as a king, who I thought he died because obviously that's what it was alluding to, but his face is just messed up a bit from being beaten with a blunt object. He's just in perfect condition to go fight Batman now. Okay. So after a really poor choreographed fight with regular people, not like the hired goons of these supervillains or the masters of kung fu or anything like that. He's fighting just regular people. And he almost loses and finds himself hysterically somehow in one of the prison cells where Harley Quinn just presses a button and locks him in and turns on the gas for the room. Is this the worst rendition of Batman that we've ever seen before? One of the most incompetent Batmans of all time. You could have honestly had it where, as the fight's happening, Harley maybe shoots him with a tranquilizer gun or stabs him with a needle that incapacitates him or anything. She does nothing. They do nothing. Somehow Batman is almost losing a fight to these regular dudes. So Harley realizes that, you know what, we're kind of screwed here. So, I mean, we could just shoot Batman. He's honestly knocked out right now from the gas. You could open up the cell and just shoot him or stab him or anything like that, though. But you know what? We just gotta blow the building up. That's the smarter idea here than just stabbing an unconscious man. We're just gonna blow the building up. So, of course, as Harley is driving away with this guy, she notices Barbara's car in the tree line. And she's like, oh my god, we gotta turn back here. Barbara's in the house. So then it cuts to Barbara. Obviously, she's now in the house and she has a baseball bat. And she's desperately trying to break Batman out of his cell as he's still unconscious. And then as Barbara's trying to break him out, Harley shows up and she's like, Barbara, we have to go. But Harley, I have so many questions. It's okay, I'll answer all your questions. We need to get out of here now. Like, what? And then the timer goes off and the building starts exploding. And Batman's cell just perfectly falls out of the building. Almost like a Lego block that just came loose from the other pieces. Just perfectly goes out the window. And as the buildings explode, and then, oh no, Barbara and Harley start to fall to their death. But Barbara grabs onto Harley and grabs onto a piece of wood. And then has to make the choice, do I let my best friend, who's clearly a super criminal, die? Or do I just die along with her? But thankfully, fate intervenes and the piece of wood breaks. And as the two women are falling to their death, Batman swoops in, grabs Barbara, and leaves Harley Quinn to a 1,000-foot fall into the ocean. And as Barbara is standing at the edge of this cliff, looking at the ocean where her best friend is probably drowned or smooshed on the water, Batman comes up behind her and says, your relationship with Dr. Quinzel made you reckless. It's like, my god, dude, your bedside manner is legendary here. And she just tells him to shut up as she starts crying about Harley. And then he kind of says he's sorry and just disappears into the night. And then we cut to the Gotham Jazz Club where Montoya's outside waiting for Harley. Thankfully, there's a phone booth not that far away from her that goes off. And Montoya decides, I guess I'll answer this random phone booth? Okay. And Harley's on the phone. She explains to Montoya that, I'm sorry I can't come tonight, but I have to leave town for a bit. I'll look you up when I get back. And Montoya just says, is everything okay? But from Montoya's expression, she seems just sad that she was stood up and that this date's not going to happen and she really liked her. Imagine for a second a friend of yours calls you and says, I have to leave town for a bit. I'll call you back when I get back. Do you think you'd be a little bit concerned about this at all? Montoya doesn't really look concerned. She just looks sad. Like I said, how she got stood up and this date's not happening. She was really excited for it. Not that, oh, I have to leave town for a bit. Does that not sound like there's a problem here? Maybe she should have acted a little bit more concerned, like, hey, let me know what's going on here. I can help you out. None of that. Just looks sad and hangs up the phone and that's it, and we cut to black. This show is awful. And after I'm done with all these episodes, I'm going to do a full episode of this show that shows you how much screen time Batman actually gets in his own show. I don't even think side character covers it at this point. He doesn't even speak. I have no idea what they're paying the voice actor. It must be next to nothing. He's barely in the show. Most of the time, he's not speaking. But man, that was episode 5. We got 10 episodes of the season. Somehow this show is greenlit for a second season. That's just Amazon for you folks. Just like Rings of Power, they're just going to go down with the ship, hemorrhage as much money as humanly possible, and just call it a day. But that's my review of episode 5. Let me know what you guys think about that.